It's your Locked On Flyers podcast for Monday, December 19th, your daily dose of Flyers news, analysis, and high quality content that do not think Saturday could have been any weirder for the Flyers.
Oh, you mean Saturday at MSG? No, it was fine.
Oh, God. All right, let's start the show.
You're Locked On Flyers, your daily podcast on the Philadelphia Flyers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi there, I am Rachel Donner. You can find me on Twitter at rmiriam. I'm here as always with the sarcastic today, Russ Cohen, who's on Twitter at Sportsology. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Flyers. That's where you'll keep up to date with our episodes and Flyers news. You can email the show at lockedonflyers@gmail.com. We do a mailbag almost every week, so get those questions in. We are going to talk about all the goings on Saturday, including the Flyers Rangers game. And it's Monday. We will have our Nemesis of the week. And I am excited for this one in particular. It'll be a good discussion. Locked On Flyers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey. So subscribe. You'll get all of our episodes here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Plus, we're over on YouTube. So subscribe there as well. Russ, so much happened on Saturday, and it kind of felt like the most Flyers day ever.
But it really was. Like, the horde of Ranger fans that moved into the Wells Fargo was astounding.
Yes, there was that to begin with. But then, of course, we had the Kevin Hayes healthy scratch, which continued from him being benched during the Devils game in that third period. And Torts didn't want to say a lot about it. That I think the biggest confusing thing about the whole situation is he is the team's top scorer, and scoring has been the biggest problem for this team overall. And he's just so locked into this, I want the team to play right and individual players to play right, that he doesn't care that Kevin Hayes can provide offense. And we've been the first to criticize him on his defensive play and his play away from the puck. Like, there's good reason why Torts is upset with him. But, at a certain point, when you're playing a team like the Rangers, and especially that's his old team, maybe you keep him in the game.
Yeah, this has become like a battle of wills, it seems, because I can't believe that Kevin Hayes doesn't know what John Tortorella is talking about when he's talking about what to change in his game and what you should do. So I have to believe he just doesn't want to do it. I have to believe he's capable of doing it because I watched Kevin Hayes when he was with the Rangers and his hockey sense wasn't very good, and he wasn't very good away from the puck. And that changed over time. Before he left as a Ranger, it got a lot better. And it improved since then. And now somehow, for whatever reason, it has slipped back. And so, I'm not going to make excuses for either the player or the coach, because I think the coach is more right than the player in this situation. And what you say, though, makes sense, because I do feel like there is a point where it's just going to be like beating a dead horse. And what is that going to really do for the team this year?
Exactly. Yeah, I think
that's a fair question.
Yeah, I'm not sure benching him is working at this point, and that's really the main point here. So it's like, do you want to lose out on offense when he always tries to step it up against the Rangers? I don't know that it was the right call this time around, and especially being cagey with the media about it, that you're sending an additional message to Hayes, and then Hayes is like, I'm not going to talk about this. Like, it's just not conducive to building success with the rest of the team, I think.
Yeah, and I do feel like you have to be able to talk about it, because if you can't talk about it, then the fans just jump to all kinds of conclusions. So does the media. Like, it's just, ultimately, it's not good. Players can say they don't care what the media says, whatever, but they do. And, in this case, I can't even tell you, like in the press box, as an example, a lot of confusion, a lot of things being, going on. And of course, that's the number one thing that's being talked about. So you would think from a team perspective, they would rather get the focus off of that, but
right.
That's not the case.
And then we had the official news. There had been, talk about it that Lukas Sedlak wanted to return home to Czechia, in the couple of days beforehand, but they did make it official and put him on waivers to terminate the contract. And, again, I think it's great that the team, honored what he wanted to do. And if that's, if he wanted to go home, that's great. It's just very disappointing because I feel like he's been the most positive of the waiver pickups that the team has had.
Well, on the outside. On the inside, clearly
Yes.
he wasn't having a good time. And people remarked to me, because I wasn't able to talk to him, I wasn't there for morning skate, that was the happiest they'd ever seen him. So draw your own conclusions, but my conclusion is he wasn't having a good time being on a losing team, and he had played for Tortorella before, but when you have to put up with all the things that he's asking you to do and, you're losing, he just was like, I'm not into it. So I give him credit for recognizing that.
Yeah, so we wish him luck and hope
Yes.
he's happy
He doesn't even have a
home.
job yet. Like, he's hoping he has a job over there
Right.
in the Czech Elite League, but there's not a guarantee of that.
Right. Well, hopefully he does get that job and can play some more hockey. And of course, that brought up the question, are they going to sign Anisimov? Because now they'll have an open contract. Charlie O'Connor says that, he might get an NHL contract down the road, but that, they like having him in Lehigh Valley as a mentor for the kids down there, which is absolutely happening. And that is, the truth, as far as his impact in Lehigh Valley. But, what do you think about that?
Well, knowing the player, my guess is he's probably already talking to his agent and saying, listen, this is great. I've got my foot in the door. Let's get something done. I want to play in the NHL. He'll be a good soldier and be that mentor, but I think this is flawed thinking by the Flyers, because you can't hold a guy down when he's clearly ready to play in the NHL again. And you're basically saying, well, we like you down there, so we're not going to give you the contract. Well, you're leaving the door open for another team to do that. What do you want to do here? Like, that's the part to me that is just sort of maddening about it. It's like, you got a guy, he's doing everything you wanted him to do. He's doing better than Kiefer Bellows did. And it's not a slight on him, but I'm just using it as an example. Success down there could bring success to the NHL, and they're like, nah, keep him there.
Yeah, it's really, I think, a difficult situation on both sides, right? Like, if I'm Anisimov, I agree with you. I want that NHL contract now.
Yeah.
He's absolutely earned it from his
Yep.
play so far. But like I said, he's really doing a good job in Lehigh Valley. We'll talk more about that on tomorrow's show when we have our Phantoms Tuesday. But yeah, he's having a tremendous impact on that team. And from a selfish standpoint, I would like to see that continue a little bit longer.
I get it. I get it from a selfish standpoint, but this is one situation where they're not doing the right thing by the player.
No, that is true. If you want to do the right thing by the player, you absolutely give him that NHL contract.
You have it now to give.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously you got to wait until that clears and whatever, but I think that's the right thing for Anisimov. But then, plus we had Tony DAngelo return from leave. His grandmother passed away, which is very sad. Condolences.
Yep,
to
been
him
there.
and
It's horrible.
family. Yeah, it's really rough, especially when you're close, like they were. Patrick Brown came back in because of Sedlak not being there.
Didn't even notice him.
I know. I know.
Didn't even know he was there, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, the best news of the day was Cutter Gauthier officially making Team USA for World Juniors. even though that was kind of a foregone conclusion, it was still a bright spot in an otherwise tumultuous day.
Yeah, it definitely was tumultuous. The one thing I'll say about DAngelo is that, and we can get into it more, like the coach is starting to say, listen, you've got to get better here because he's not having a good season.
He's not, and I want to get into that with his return to action from leave when we actually get into the game that was played. There was so much happening. We haven't even had a chance to talk about that, but we will do that coming up next.
Today's episode is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I started using Athletic Greens because I wanted better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system, and hated taking pills and vitamins, and I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy and recovery, all those things. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. Athletic Greens contain less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything while still tasting good. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. It's available wherever you get your podcasts and over on YouTube as well. Russ, we were talking about Tony DAngelo, and yeah, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways for me from this game is that they put Tony DAngelo out there for too many minutes when you're just coming back. I just thought that was really bad decision making by the coaches out there, and maybe they were trying to, get him back out on the horse, but with him, the way his season has been going defensively, I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, and Tortorella said, well, there was definite rust. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's a -5. That's a lot of rust. But the thing is, he didn't help the power play either. There was some movement with the puck, but like he needs to shoot and score. Like this is a guy that shouldn't just be a puck distributor on the power play. He's supposed to be your top guy. And I feel like it's a broken record. I've mentioned it before. I understand what he's been through, but once you come back out on the ice, you kind of have to be ready. And if he's not ready, like if it's going to take him a week or more to kind of get up to speed here, you got to start looking at Tony DAngelo and start deciding if there's a way you can deal him. That's what Chuck Fletcher has to do because clearly the signing was always going to be up in the air as to whether it worked. Tortorella said, well, we're not trying to make him a defensive specialist. Yeah, we get that. But the idea is he's not even an offensive specialist. And he thinks, and this is where I think Torts has it wrong. This does not work for all players anymore. He thinks by becoming better on defense, it'll work over, give him confidence, and work to his offense. But again, I could point to 4 or 5 defensemen just like DAngelo in the league that have never gotten better defensively, but yet have this really good offensive game. And sometimes you just have to let that player play that game regardless of some mistakes. I mean, that's it. That's your choice. Play him or don't play him, but you're probably not going to change him.
Yeah, 2 shots on goal in the game entirely.
4 power plays.
Exactly. When you have that much power play time and you're on power play 1, like that's unacceptable, I think, as far as his offensive output out there. And I thought that was a huge part of the problem with the game. I mean, the power play was not working at all in that game. And I thought, there was a combination of reasons. Number 1 was Tony DAngelo. Absolutely. Number 2, was there something missing? Because Kevin Hayes wasn't there. on the
Sure.
power
I mean,
play.
there's definitely something missing. He's a really good distributor on the power play. It's another good shot. Yeah, there's something missing, but the power play was still having trouble with Kevin Hayes on it too. It just was less
Yes.
bad.
Yes. So I think, also I think Power Play 2 was better out there than Power Play 1, and they left Power Play 1 out there, I think, for way too long, multiple
Yeah.
times.
Here's their percentage. It's 15.46, third worst in the league. Like, it's inexcusable.
The whole time they were on the power play. And then, of course, the 6-on-4 was a mess again.
Yeah.
So it just like feeds into not having a good power play overall. 6-on-4, one shot on
Ugh.
goal between the two sections of 6-on-4. Like when Torts pulled the goalie the first time around that early, I was like, this is a mistake.
Yeah.
Because I just knew with the Rangers and their puck movement and the way that they can find space on the net, even if it was a 50-50 shot, like I felt like the odds were in the Rangers' favor that one of those was going to go in for sure. And of course, like Trouba, who hasn't had a goal all year, gets
Yeah.
one down the
It's
ice. You know?
crazy. I know. It's crazy because after the first empty netter went in, yeah, I think the Flyers were fighting more than in previous games to try and keep the puck out of the net. But again, it's a torturous situation out there for the players. Like, they weren't going to come back and win that game. Why didn't you put the goalie back in? Like, this is just like, again, gamesmanship from the coach that I really don't care for.
Right. And so it felt to me exactly that. It was the coach against his own players versus
Yeah.
the Flyers against the Rangers in that
Right.
circumstance.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, you guys got yourselves into this mess. Keep the puck out of the net. That's your job. It's like, it's just, and it's hard to keep the puck out of the net against a good offensive team. You know it is. Like, it's just the whole thing. I didn't enjoy watching it from any aspect. And it just made things easier for the Rangers just to kind of like, get empty stats. But they were, Ovechkin got 2 empty net goals on you not that long ago. If this is the kind of play you want to do and you want to just let teams do that and pile it up, that's fine. Will he do it again because maybe he won't do it again, rather, because he saw a little more battle? That's what I would say. I would say, all right, at least I got that out of you, but I don't know. I can't tell you he's going to do that.
Want to try and talk about a good thing in this game. And I think JVR is building up that trade value, right?
Yeah, I mean, he had a good game.
Yeah.
No question that shot from Tippett that went off the back wall, he corralled it and did a nice job. Got it past Halak on a quick move. That was good. I mean, JVR has picked up the system. We weren't sure if he would. He has. But he also knows he's going to get traded. Jeff Marek was reporting he's back on the block. He's been on the block, right, for 2 years. So, like, we know just a matter of time till somebody gets him. And so, yeah, I mean, I think his motivation is, I'm going to play as good as I can because I know I'm leaving. I know that sounds jaded, but that's the way it is.
No, I mean, he led the team with 5 shots on goal, which I think isn't enough to lead the team in a game overall.
Not when you get 4 power plays.
No. And at the same time, I think, whatever good he's doing is actually really good for the team. I think he's a veteran and he's leading by example here.
Yep.
And if you want to talk about somebody, like you said, doing the tort system right, JVR is that.
Yeah, he's doing it right. And he's getting rewarded and he's getting goals. Not a lot of goals, but he's getting them because he was out also with the finger. So, yeah, I mean, his play has been good. He has been a good example. But, and I'm going to bring up Travis Sanheim because, again,
please do. Please,
I mean, falling down over a board battle with Keandre Miller, a guy who did struggle in that game earlier on. And then so he gets the puck. He goes down, and I don't remember who was on Miller, but whoever was on Miller, when Miller got back up and went with the puck, I don't think that player thought Miller was going to go to the net and finish off that play. And I think it surprised the player. And as a result, like, Hart didn't know really how to set up for that. And that's a situation where, like, a player like miscalculated what was going on there. And Miller just, carried through on a play and made a good play. Those kinds of things are maddening to me when I see that. And, the coach was just, again, he took the good out of this game and he pretends that the bad doesn't bother him. We know the bad bothers him when he leaves that rink. He could tell us otherwise, but there's not one person in the room that believes him.
Yeah. I think with Travis Sanheim, I feel like he's trying to break out of the cage of this system right now. And I think he's stepping up offensively and skating all the way behind the net a lot more right now. And he's just like, well, if I'm messing up defensively, I got to put some points on the board to redeem myself. And I feel like even though he is that guy, and we've talked about it, he is that guy that can get back. And maybe he thinks he can get back anyway. So he might as well do this. But like he is just, really trying to create value for himself at this point. And if it's at the expense of some mistakes like that, that's what he's going to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at the jeopardy he put his team in. The Flyers had just killed off a penalty. He gets another penalty. Luckily, Scott Lawton gets a shorthanded goal.
Shorty, yeah.
But, I mean, that penalty was brutal.
Yeah.
So he had a couple of brutal plays in this game, and he really needs to step it up. He really does, because he is a guy that has a long-term deal now, and that coach is going to be there. So he's got to figure it out.
All right. Well, we still haven't talked about Carter Hart in this game, and I want to do that. And we still have our Nemesis of the week. We're going to do both coming up next. Russ, I wouldn't say it was a horrible game for Carter Hart, but it wasn't his best game either. And there was definitely defensive breakdowns like we literally just talked about in front of him, where he wasn't able to set up properly. But I just feel like he's playing too many games.
He is. I mean, in that second period late in it, it was like high danger chance. And he was stopping them. Like, he did his best. I didn't understand why he was playing in this game, especially when you got word that the Rangers are playing their backup. That was a good opportunity to play Sandstrom. He's coming off, the 49 save performance, 48 save performance. He was tired after the game, like during post game. He was visibly tired. And this is a problem. Again, Torts is going to throw it off to Kim Dillabaugh and just say, well, I just listen to him, so whatever he says goes. But, like, sometimes you have to step in as coach and say, yeah, you know what? Early in the season, this is a bit of too much of a workload for him. We're not winning the Stanley Cup here. Let's even this out now so we don't have a problem with Carter Hart later in the season vis-a-vis an injury or, a mental problem like he had a couple of years ago. That's what you're flirting around with here.
Yeah, and we talked about it beforehand that if you just look purely on the schedule, it does make more sense to put Sandstrom in against Columbus, and maybe that's what their plan was. But with that 49 save,
that's when you have to adjust the plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that ultimately was a mistake here, just from a rest perspective for Carter Hart. But my guess is we'll see Sandstrom on Tuesday.
You would hope. I mean, again, if we don't, I'm really going to question things.
All right. Well, it's time for our Nemesis of the week. And if you are newer to the program, each and every Monday, we look at the week ahead and say what is bothering us the most in the world of the Flyers or hockey or life in general. Russ always throws a couple
I got one again.
Curveballs. Oh, good. I'm very well, I'm a little wary, but also interested to see what it is. Last week we talked about, the scoring against good teams, and lo and behold, Torts is like, scoring doesn't matter as long as we're playing the right way. And that kind of leads into my nemesis this week, which is what we've been talking about for a good portion of this episode, is that what is the cost benefit of playing the Torts way versus building confidence through scoring and wins? And what are the decisions being made in order to build confidence or get wins more often in order to at least make these guys happy sometimes? It's a struggle when you have one thing being demanded of you. It's not working to get you wins, even if you could be quote unquote playing the right way and getting praise from him. Does it matter if you're just sick of losing?
Yeah, it's a great point. My thing is going to be like, that game yesterday was a holiday game, and I kind of wish they would have mentioned Hanukkah since it's on Sunday, but I tweeted about it. But that's not the biggest thing. A lot of people were thinking, well, the Flyers are going to win this game because they're going to be really up for this game, and it's with the Rangers in, and it didn't happen. And so I would like to see, and I don't know if this goes on or not, and we don't even as media and the fans don't either. But do these Flyers get to have any fun during this time where it's a little tumultuous and they're not having a good season? Has there been any lighthearted attempts at trying to break the tension that way? I don't get the feeling there is. And just like what you were saying, I feel like there needs to be a little of that.
Yeah, there really does. And I will take your point about Hanukkah, by the way, because the Devils did it when I was there
Say?
for Flyers Devils. We'll see if they have posted anything on social media. They haven't as of recording, but doesn't mean they won't.
No, but they had this whole game. It's like that was the
Yeah,
time
I know.
when I feel like it should have been done. And they're not the only ones. Like I've been every once in a while tweaking things on Twitter because it just seems like it's a forgotten thing. But anyhow, I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, no, it's a good soapbox, believe me. But I just think that these guys just like need a release from this
They
tension
do.
of
Take them to
of
Dave
the
and Buster's. I
losing.
know Torts grumbled
Dave and
about that.
Buster's.
No, but you
Okay.
remember, but like seriously, like
Yeah.
one day just say, hey, listen, after practice, we're gonna go to Dave and Buster's. Like, just do it.
Yeah. Or go bowling or do something like
Yeah, don't
lame
just let the
or
players leave and they're just gonna go to Chipotle and go home anyhow.
have a video game tournament that the
Right.
public can
Something.
watch like on Twitch
Something.
or
I mean,
something.
I think if the Flyers fans saw them witnessing them at least having fun, I think it would help a little bit. Not too much because I get it; it could turn negative, but just they're humans too.
Yes. I think that is a very good point, and I would love to see something like that as well. Yeah, there wasn't like a fun holiday video either of like
No,
Santa sacks
no
stuff
ugly
with
sweater party that we could
no.
see.
I mean, maybe they'll have one
Maybe.
over the Christmas break, but we'll see. All right, wrapping up with our Flyers fun thing. As I have experienced in the past as well, the only thing when you have a bunch of Rangers fans come in to a Flyers game that brings everybody together is a good chant against a mutual opponent. And sure enough, we got a Dallas sucks chant during the game. And I appreciate that tremendously. I remember when the Flyers and Rangers played the Winter Classic, we got a good Yankees.
Yes.
Or sorry, when Boston and the Flyers.
Yeah, that's the Yankees suck.
Yeah, was the Yankees suck chant, and that was really fun too.
It's
so
a good
I love
diffuser.
it. Yeah, it is a good diffuser, and I enjoy it when you have occasions to come together against a mutual enemy.
Always good.
All right, that'll do it for today's show. We will be back tomorrow where we will preview that matchup against Columbus. Some really heartbreaking news for a couple of players on each team. And we're going to talk about that. Plus, we'll have our Phantoms check in, some good stuff, including the teddy bear toss going on in Lehigh Valley this weekend. As a reminder, we always want to hear from you. You can send mailbag questions to us in so many ways via Twitter or Instagram at Locked On Flyers. You can email us at lockedonflyers@gmail.com, or you can comment over on YouTube. So there's no excuse. Get those questions in. I am Rachel. I'm on Twitter at rmiriam. That's RMIRIAM.
I'm Russ. I'm at Sportsology, SPORTSOLOGY.
Thanks for making Locked On Flyers your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. It's the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and their take of the day. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. Have a happy Hanukkah and a great day, everyone.